Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. Before I get into the main subject, and you already know what that is from the title, before I get into that, I just want to discuss briefly something I saw earlier today, just in passing on TV. Donald Trump in the cabinet room. I think he was talking about Syria, perhaps other subjects. It was a cabinet meeting of the entire cabinet. I came in pretty much near the end when he was taking questions, as he usually does whenever he has a cabinet meeting or he's going to a plane or a helicopter, which is one of the great things about Donald Trump. You remember Barack Obama, it was almost impossible to ask him questions. He did no press conferences. Well, Trump doesn't do any either, but he doesn't have to because he's so accessible to the press. He takes so many questions that you don't even need and you don't even have, in I can't remember how many months, I think he's just stopped doing them, the daily press briefing with the press secretary. Not necessary because you can ask Donald Trump directly any question that you have. He's very accessible. That is one of the great things about Donald Trump. Now, another great thing, something I was happy to hear, was in this cabinet meeting, he was taking questions. As I said, I came in near the end, but I think it was, well, I'm sure it was a question about the emolument clause. He has been accused of making illegal profits, of violating the emolument clause of the Constitution. If you don't know what that means, the emolument clause is your, well, I don't have the exact language in front of me. I don't have it committed to memory, the exact language. But the president is not allowed to receive payments from a foreign power, from a foreign prince is how the Constitution phrased it. But obviously you don't want a president working for two countries. That's just obvious. And you don't want a president taking bribes. Trump has been accused of that. He was accused of that just recently with the now rescinded offer to use his Doral resort for a G7 meeting. He said he was willing to do it for free, so I don't know how that's an emolument. So he said he's not going to do that. They're going to find another site that's going to cost the taxpayer more. That would be us. So thanks a lot, Democrats. You just cost a bunch of money for nothing. But Trump, addressing the emoluments clause, he pointed out something that George Washington, I knew this, I've been waiting for somebody to mention this, that George Washington continued to operate his businesses, his plantation, his whiskey distilling business. He continued to operate those businesses while he was president. You are allowed to make money on your businesses if you're president, especially if you let somebody else run the businesses and you're not running them yourself. I mean, if you're, say, Jeff Bezos and you run for president and you're elected, you have to sell Amazon. You have to give up your entire life's work to be president for what may only be 4 years. Of course, that's absurd. But a more recent example would be Barack Obama. He had his Dreams of My Father book on sale all the time that he was president. People were buying that book. Presumably he was taking the royalties. I never read or heard anything about Barack Obama giving his royalties to charity, nothing like that. And of course anybody could buy those books. So it's perfectly, well, it's possible, very possible that a world leader, say the president of France, the Prime Minister of England, just to know more about Barack Obama would have bought his book. So there you have somebody making a profit from a foreign leader. That would seem to violate the emoluments clause if you're going to interpret it that way. But of course it's a Democrat, it's Barack Obama, so nobody questions it. Also, keep in mind that on Doral, Trump was not going to make any money, unlike Obama, who made money from his royalties. And as Trump pointed out in this answer to this question today, he is taking, well, he's required to get paid something for being president. So he's taking $1, he's giving up the entire rest of his salary. So if he's willing to give up hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, then how do you square that with an accusation of violating the emoluments clause and taking money? The critics actually were admitting that, and they were charging that he was getting publicity by doing that. He was promoting himself by doing that. It was self-promotion, and he pointed out the obvious, that the last thing Donald Trump needs is some way to get more publicity. He's the last person in the world who would need that. So you see how comical and ridiculous that is. I just wanted to point that out, but kudos to Trump for defending himself that way, because he is exactly right. Now, on to today's main subject. I'm not in the habit of helping Democrats. As you know, if you've been watching this vlog, if you're not a new visitor, and I hope I've got a lot of new visitors, but if you are a new visitor, then you don't know, but others know, that I'm a conservative. And actually, whether I'm a conservative or not, I have said multiple times that I'm going to vote for Donald Trump in the election. So you would think it's not in my interest to help Democrats. I'm making an exception because this is one time when I think it is in our interest, my interest, our interest if you're a Trump supporter, to help a Democrat, because Liz Warren is the front runner right now. So anything that could reduce her chances of winning a general election, obviously we want to do. And anything that would, well, if it knocks her out of the front spot and somebody else gets the top spot, becomes a nominee, I think all those other people will be just as easy or hard, depending on your point of view, as Liz Warren. But right now, she is the front runner. If you watched that last debate, you saw all the other candidates, or a number of them, challenging her on her Medicare for All plan, specifically how to pay for it. They asked her repeatedly to say yes or no, would she have to raise taxes on the middle class to pay, not just for that plan, but I guess for everything that she wants to do. The trillions upon trillions of dollars that her plans are going to cost. She has said, in fairness to her, she just said that she's going to publish a paper or something showing how she plans to pay for her Medicare for All. What does this mean? Well, it means, obviously, if she's going to publish this in the future, that she doesn't have a way to pay for what she wants to do. Or she hasn't thought much about it. If she already had a written plan, if she already had down on paper, or at least in her head, how she plans to do this, she would have had the plan out a long time ago, or would have at least explained it in this last debate, but she just evaded the question. So I think what she's doing is she's trying to come up with something to make good on her, well, I can't say on her promise not to raise taxes on the middle class, but just to justify her evasion of the entire question. What I want to do is to help the Democrats. I was going to say nail her, but obviously that's probably not the right phrase to use. How to corner her, how to corner Elizabeth Warren on her plan, I think, to raise taxes on the middle class, or at least to get a definitive answer out of her. We know from just this recent experience and from previous experiences that just asking her yes or no, are you going to raise taxes on the middle class to pay for Medicare for All, you're not going to get an answer. You're going to get an evasion. You're going to get a long spiel about how costs will be reduced, so on and so forth. As I said in a past vlog, I think she's trying to say what Bernie Sanders said outright, that he would raise taxes on the middle class, but those increased taxes would be more than offset by the reduction in health care costs. So Bernie, at least, is honest. Liz Warren is not honest. She evades the question, so how do we get a definitive response on this question from her? And there actually is a way, and this is my suggestion, something that I urge all the candidates to do, certainly in the next debate, but anytime one of them gets a chance, which is not to ask a question, but to make a statement, to say, I say, this is the candidate speaking, not me, it could be me, though, if I ever run for president, but I say that Liz Warren is going to have to raise taxes on the middle class to pay for her Medicare for all plan, or to just pay for all of her plans in general, whatever. I am saying that Liz Warren is going to have to raise taxes on the middle class, or even better, in a debate, face her directly and say, I am sure that you are going to raise taxes on the middle class to pay for your plan. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, then tell me right now that I'm wrong. If you don't say anything, then obviously I'm right, or the person asking the question is right. And that's how you get her, corner her, get a definitive response on whether Liz Warren would raise taxes on the middle class. If you say that she's going to do it and then challenge her to dispute what you just said, and she doesn't dispute it, if she evades, then you can just come back and just say, well, she hasn't disputed what I just said. She's going to raise taxes. And you can even carry it forward every time you make a speech, even if she's not there. Just say, well, it's been 2 months since I challenged Liz Warren on this, or whatever it is. She still hasn't corrected me. She still hasn't disputed what I said. She's going to raise taxes on the middle class. And then finally, Donald Trump can do this. Donald Trump can say, Liz Warren, or any of the other candidates who is trying to evade this question, candidate X is going to raise taxes on the middle class. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Candidate or Ms. Candidate. If I'm wrong, then tell me I'm wrong. And if you don't say anything, then obviously I am right. So this is advice not just for the Democratic candidates now, but for Donald Trump to use. In fact, I think it would be a heck of a campaign ad to keep making this statement and to keep challenging Liz Warren to say it's wrong. And if she says it is wrong, if she puts out a plan of, because that would be the next question. If she says it's wrong, then the next question is, okay, show us how. And if and when she shows how, then you can look at the numbers. And I think those numbers are not going to work. So we'll see what happens. If they work, then I guess we can all be, I won't say pleasantly surprised, but we could all be surprised, because I don't want Medicare for all. That's it for today. Thumbs up if you like the vlog. Share it with anybody you think would like it too. Any comments, put them in the comments section. Feel free to share the vlog with anybody you think would like the vlog too. Subscribe, invite others to subscribe, and finally come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again, and until I do, bye.